officer and a March 7th staff work is we obviously notify the hearings officer, which we did on March 7th. And the request for the continuance must be granted by the hearings officer this evening. And so that's one of the first questions posed to the hearings officer tonight. And we can get into some of the particulars of kind of next steps. But essentially what will happen is if the hearings officer grants the continuance, a new notice of public hearing and Ben bulletin notice will be sent out 21 days in advance of that hearing date. And the reason for that is because the request is to a future date uncertain. And so we will need to re-notify essentially the public hearing in accordance with our procedures. And so with that, I do want to turn things over back to Hearings Officer Frank to discuss this continuance request.
Thank you, Ms. King. My only question in any continuance is whether or not there's anyone present this evening who wishes to object to the continuance. Ms. King, if you'd let me know if there's someone either online or in person that's objecting to the continuance, if you'll inform me of that.
Yes, thank you. We've got a few folks. We have no one attending in person tonight, but we have a few folks online. It looks like we have some folks from the applicant team, but if there's anyone who is not part of the applicant team who would like to object to the continuance request, please utilize the raise hand function on your Zoom computer.
And Ms. King, yes, Ms. King, since we haven't gone through all the how to raise hands and the phone numbers and all that kind of thing, let's give them just an extra maybe 20, 30 seconds to figure out I've got a problem with this or not.
Okay, yeah. I'm not seeing any raised hands yet, but yeah, we'll give it another few seconds here.
Okay.
And again, that's going to be on the bottom panel if you're joining us. Those folks on Zoom, the bottom panel, the raise hand function there. And still not seeing any raised hands. Yeah, I believe, again, no raised hands at this point. Hearings Officer Frank.
Thank you, Ms. King. Then unless the applicant wishes to provide an explanation beyond what you've done, I don't have any objection to the continuance from my perspective, as long as each and every person who wishes to testify in a case gets an opportunity to do so and is properly notified. I have no problems whatsoever in continuing this to a date uncertain. So Ms. King, if the applicant or applicant's representative wishes to expand on the request, that's great. If not, I will proceed to make my decision.
Thank you. And I'll ask if any of the applicant team is here. Please utilize the raise hand feature and you'll be able to unmute. Oh. Hey, Jesse, good afternoon.
This is Jesse Winterroad with Winterbrook Planning at 610 Southwest Alder Street, Portland, Oregon, 97205.
If you'll spell your first and last name for me, please.
Jesse and then Winterowd.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, we concur with the request for continuance. We want to make sure that all of the jurisdictions have a chance to go through their process. Right now, the county's been very proactive in scheduling the hearing, and we appreciate that. The city process take a little bit longer to get to the hearing, and so we want to have the city hearing first and then go through the county hearing process. So that's a situation.
Understand. So I'm assuming that this request is your request, which will continue the 150-day clock. Well, is this a request for a comp plan change? It is, isn't it?
It is.
I guess we don't have it. I guess we don't have a clock. So I'm always nervous about when things like that run out. Okay. Anything else, sir?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Anyone else?
And if there's anyone else who would like to on the applicant's team, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing any raised hands at this point.
All right, then I'm going to grant the continuance to a date uncertain. The next procedural point that I'd like to raise is ask Ms. King if there's anyone here wishing to testify tonight. Let me, before I ask that question formally, want everyone to understand that may potentially desire to testify this evening, that there will be a new notice go out, there will be a new hearing date set, and there will be a hearing, and you will be given an opportunity to testify. So my suggestion is always wait until the full hearing, but I need to make sure that if you do want to testify tonight, you can. So Ms. King, with that in mind, is there anyone wishing to testify this evening?
Thanks, Hearings Officer Frank. Again, no folks trickled in person. If there's any attendees, please utilize the raise hand feature. Again, I believe our two other attendees are on the applicant's team. And so I'm not seeing any raised hands for those wishing to testify tonight.
All right. So Ms. King, any additional insight from our discussion that we need to have with, if I've granted the continuance to the date uncertain, is there anything else we need to do this evening? I'll open the floor to you.
Yep. No, I think that's great. Hearings Officer Frank, again, just to reiterate, we will be mailing out a new notice of public hearing and a new Zoom link as well. So that will be utilized for the future hearing date, and the application record will also be updated with the new date once it's determined.
Okay. Thank you. With that then, hearing that there's no one wishing to testify this evening, I am going to close this section or portion of the hearing. You will all receive a new notice with a new date, and I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you and any additional parties or persons that wish to testify. So with that, we'll close the hearing. Thank you so much. We'll close.
Good night.